Get in, loser.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're looking at trailers that showed audiences something different than the movie would ultimately deliver. While we will avoid major spoilers here, we'll have to get into some plot details.
Love the jacket, Charlie. Nice.
Number 10, Jennifer's Body.
Hi.
Trailers for Jennifer's Body seem to promise a film in the vein of erotic teen thrillers as Cruel Intentions, albeit with a horror twist.
You and me are going out tonight. Wear something cute, okay?
Played fairly straightforwardly, the way the camera lingered on the clearly evil and sexually devious title character appeared to play into the male gaze, as well as stereotypes of bisexual women.
It's just that I like the same things that she likes.
Writer Diablo Cody took immediate issue with how the film was marketed towards boys on Megan Fox's sex appeal, insisting it was a movie for girls too. Initially, marketing did inform some opinions of the film, with Roger Ebert calling it Twilight for boys. However, many others, particularly in recent years, have praised the film as a feminist classic and an important film for the bisexual and queer communities.
You're killing people. No, I'm killing boys. Are you scared? Thought you only murdered boys. I go both ways.
Number 9, Blue Valentine.
Who should I say is calling?
Derek Cianfrance's film is told cutting back and forth between two linear storylines, one chronicling the beginning of a relationship, and the other telling its last days.
I can't do this anymore.
I know. Baby, I'm just fighting, fighting for my family.
By intercutting between the two narratives, the film carries a sense of melancholy, with the characters played by Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams growing closer in one time period while drifting further apart in another.
There is nothing here for you. I don't love you.
Don't say stuff.
I don't.
Don't say stuff
asked
you
for
can't
it.
take back.
The trailer, however, focused only on scenes from the earlier storyline, with a sparse glimpse or two from the latter.
You always hurt the ones you love. You shouldn't hurt at all.
Even when those moments were shown, Gosling, who was in makeup to appear older and less conventionally attractive, was intentionally obscured. This gave filmgoers the impression of a more traditional indie romance rather than the story of an ultimately doomed relationship.
You said for better or worse. You said that.
Number 8, Yesterday.
Yesterday,
Ellie bought you a present.
all my troubles seem so far away.
While all of these trailers were misleading about the content of their film, only this trailer led to a lawsuit over false advertising.
They were so upset by her lack of appearance that they sued Universal Studios in a class action lawsuit for $5 million.
Yesterday had the good luck of casting Ana de Armas just as her star was rising,
Really nice to meet you, I'm a big fan.
and capitalized on that by featuring her in the film's trailer. However, when the film was released, any trace of de Armas was completely absent.
Back in the USSR!
While it's not unusual for a role to be cut from a final film, it is to feature an entirely cut performer in the trailer. The actress's fans cried foul and sued Universal over false advertising.
Now, Universal wants it all thrown out, but a judge has just decided that the suit can proceed, subject to the California false advertising law.
The lawsuit gained significant media attention, but ultimately suffered the same fate as Armas' scene, being thrown out.
It's one of the greatest songs ever written.
Well, it's not Coldplay.
Number 7, Godzilla. Godzilla's American return in 2014 was built up to be a major event, boosted by a series of epic trailers. These prominently featured Bryan Cranston, fresh off the massive success of the recently concluded Breaking Bad, seemingly attempting to thwart a government conspiracy to cover up the emergence of Godzilla.
And it is gonna send us back to the Stone Age!
The excellent trailer excited audiences, primed to see a conspiracy thriller with Cranston hunting down Godzilla. While the final film was solid, it didn't quite deliver on the promise of the trailer, which has gone on to be considered one of the best of all time. Cranston was barely in the film, in fact, only appearing in an extended prologue, killed off before the 45-minute mark of the 2-hour-plus movie. Number 6, Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. After a decade of chasing teens through the woods, the 8th Friday the 13th teased a different locale.
Friday the 13th, Part 8.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
The trailer showed Jason staring at the iconic New York City skyline as an instrumental version of Sinatra's song named after the city played. The change from claustrophobic woods to one of the most crowded cities in the world was sure to be an interesting one. It's just too bad we didn't see much of that. As it turns out, it's very expensive to shoot in NYC. Instead, some of the action takes place on a boat with only the final act in Manhattan. Decades later, Scream 6 would commit the same sin after promoting its New York setting, with both slashers shooting primarily in Canada.
Guys?
Number 5. Bridge to Terabithia.
Look at it. It's all ours. From the mountains to the oceans.
Although it was made by Walden Media, Walt Disney Studios picked up the distribution rights for Bridge to Terabithia, promoting it as a fun family adventure flick.
When you go looking for adventure, be prepared to find more than you ever imagined.
After the success of their Chronicles of Narnia adaptation, which saw children discovering a hidden magical world full of wonder and creatures, the studio decided to promote Terabithia in the same way.
Bridge to Terabithia.
Unlike Narnia, though, the magical world was nothing more than a few scenes where the children imagined an escape from their problems.
Just close your eyes.
Rather than being a rollicking fantasy, the film deals with the real-world trauma that the young characters go through. The filmmakers would even go as far as to distance themselves from the deceptive ad campaign, which hid the darker themes.
Is it like the Bible says? Is she going to hell?
Number 4. Alien 3. After years stuck in developmental hell with a revolving door of directors and writers, several different scripts for a third Alien film had been written, thrown out, rewritten, and thrown out again.
It's not possible.
Finally, first-time director David Fincher was brought on board to shoot a version that combined multiple drafts, which was still being rewritten as shooting began.
Where the hell are they going? What about the plan?
Look, you're immune, they're not.
So what are we doing?
Improvising.
We're improvising.
Just as filming was getting underway, a teaser was released to build hype, despite there being no actual footage. Instead, it simply provided the basic premise. This time, the xenomorphs would finally come to Earth, a concept that quickly excited fans.
In 1979, we discovered in space, no one can hear you scream.
And while an old draft was set on Earth, that idea didn't make it into the shooting script at all, leaving fans bitterly disappointed. Number 3. Mean Girls.
Move.
Hey, PG-13, please.
It's becoming a growing trend for studios not to advertise the musical films they have produced as actually containing singing. Numerous trailers have outright hidden that they were musicals at all, scrubbing any reference to song and dance from promotion to the film. You would not be to blame if you arrived at the recently released Cyrano or Wonka only to find out in the theater that the actors in the film were singing.
Oh, I don't think I want to hear that.
Too late. I've started dancing now. Once we've started, we can't stop.
Perhaps the worst offender of this trend was the remake of Mean Girls.
Who wrote all this junk?
Which seemed to follow the original film incredibly closely, with one major alteration. Other than a note hidden in the A of the stylized title, there was no indication that this was an adaptation of the Broadway musical.
It's Halloween.
Katie, if you don't dress slutty, that is slut-shaming us.
That's just unprofessional.
What's this?
Number 2. Kangaroo Jack.
See, I am Jackie Legs, and I'd like to say hello.
You'd be forgiven if you thought Kangaroo Jack was a fun, family-friendly buddy flick about a talking, rapping kangaroo. Because that's what advertising promised.
Hey, look how tall he is.
It's no wonder that audiences were upset when they got a raunchy crime story with a kangaroo that certainly did not rap, aside from a brief dream sequence.
I can sing.
The deception came about after the film, a mobster comedy full of sex and violence in the vein of Midnight Run, then called Down and Under, tested incredibly poorly with audiences. The film was quickly retooled to get a PG rating, and inspired by the similarly deceptive trailer for Snow Dogs, a hallucination scene with a CGI kangaroo was thrown in to appeal to younger audiences.
I said a hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop, and you don't stop the rock to the bang bang boogie, set up, jump. This is great.
Before we unveil our top pick, Here are a few honorable mentions. Black Christmas. Additional footage shot exclusively for the trailer, not even in the film.
You're my family now. Black Christmas.
Suicide Squad. So different that trailer company was asked to recut the film.
What you having?
Beer.
Whiskey.
What am I, 12?
How about you, hot stuff?
Water.
Adventureland. Made to look like Greg Mottola's previous and very different film, Superbad.
You get to refrigerate these?
Mm-hmm.
Smell weird?
Yeah.
Fry these up.
Adventureland.
You mean drinking drugs? I think I had a bad corn dog.
Yeah, don't ever eat the corn dog.
Passengers. A love story made to look like a non-stop action space adventure.
There's something I have to tell you. There's a reason we woke up early.
Downsizing. Promoted as a straight-up comedy.
I think we're in the normal world, and then something happens. Oh my God. And you realize we're not.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Gray.
Not a second goes by when I'm not thinking of you in some way.
After the overwhelming success of Taken, Liam Neeson's career received a surprising second wind as an action star in films like Unknown and The A-Team.
You had to know if you left me alive that this was coming.
When the trailer for The Gray was released, it seemed like this was yet another one of those dumb but fun action films.
We need a fire, and we find food. If we don't move and work now, we'll all freeze to death.
This time with Liam Neeson punching wolves in the face.
Don't be afraid.
What audiences got was a restrained survival thriller where a group of men were slowly stalked and hunted by wolves. It was more of a philosophical meditation on mortality and finding the will to live in the face of tragedy.
Show me something real!
The film even repurposed the final shot of the film, with Neeson facing down and accepting his mortality as simply another action moment.
Once more into the fray. To the last good fight I'll ever know.
Which trailers do you feel tricked you? Let us know in the comments below.
I've got two men who claim that the songs are theirs. Let's see how this plays out, shall we?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.